Ashlee, happy to see you back for session 2 this week.
You know me, Gabby. I don't miss these sessions, girl. I need them so much.
Well, I'm happy to have you back. I know we covered a lot of stuff last week, and I was talking a little bit like you had some self-esteem things that you're struggling with. So why don't you tell me a little bit about that?
Okay. Well, besides the asshole ex that I gave you a very lengthy backstory to, but obviously my self-esteem issues didn't start there. So I had my daughter at 16 years old, and before I got pregnant, I only weighed 127 pounds.
I would say having a baby in general, huge body change.
So even saying that, like whenever I say like, oh, I weighed 127 pounds, immediately I get insecure. Like they're probably looking like, Jesus Christ, 127 pounds. God, you gained so much fucking weight. But anyways, so I was very skinny. I was tiny, and then I had a baby, and I only gained 22 pounds.
Wow.
When I was pregnant.
Oh my gosh.
I was very cautious about it. I ate very healthy. I didn't really crave crappy food anyways, which was really nice.
Now, did you eat healthy because you were pregnant, or did you eat healthy because you were already struggling with body image issues?
I wasn't. Before I got pregnant, it's so funny. I really didn't have body image issues. Like I didn't.
Okay.
I don't even really remember ever like looking at myself. I mean, maybe when I was younger, one of my best friends was like really, really skinny, and sometimes it would make me a little uncomfortable because I was heavier than her. But I wasn't fixated on it. I didn't like perseverate on those things.
Well,
like
that's good. That means that person's in there. We just got to pull it out.
Yeah, like it didn't consume me the way that it does now. So then I got pregnant with my daughter, and then I had her, and I gained 22 pounds. So I didn't gain a lot of weight. And like the moment that I was done giving birth and everything, like at my post-op, I already dropped 11 pounds. So it was like the weight was coming off. But then they asked me if I wanted to have birth control. Obviously, I was only 16 when I had my daughter. I'm like, I mean, I wasn't having sex after that anyways. But I was like, yeah. So I got the Depo shot. I wasn't that educated on the side effects or anything like that. And I was young, so I didn't really ask, like, what are the risks? What are the side effects? How am I going to feel, etc. Well, I didn't realize that one of the side effects of Depo shot can be extreme weight gain. So at my next post-op appointment, because I had a C-section, I was up to like 172 pounds. And
Which
I'm
is
like,
a huge difference considering the last you had left, you were what, 130?
Yep, and you know what? I used to be at home every day because I had a C-section, so I had a tutor come to my house, because I was out of school for 3 months. And I guess I wasn't really noticing that I was putting on weight because I was wearing like pajama pants all the time. I was home all day with a baby, so I had baggy clothes on anyway, so like I didn't go anywhere. I wasn't getting
concerned.
So it wasn't like I was putting jeans on. I literally don't remember in those 3 months even putting jeans on. Like I lived in sweatpants and pajama pants and stuff.
That's normal. You were a new mom.
Yeah, and I was diagnosed with postpartum depression too, so that was like a major contributor as well.
Yeah, definitely that would play into it.
Yeah, so I guess I didn't really notice, or maybe I was just so consumed with being a mom and adjusting to having a baby because there were so many changes. You know, I was only 16 when I had her. And then I'm like, what the fuck? Like, how am I in the 170s? Like, I've never weighed this much before in my life. And I started freaking out, like getting upset. And then the doctor came in and we talked about it, and she's like, oh, one of the side effects of the Depo shot can be weight gain. I'm like, why didn't anyone tell me this? Like, I really felt like jaded. Like, no one really gave me like.
Well, when your doctor kind of doesn't give you that information, you almost feel betrayed because it's like, I'm going to come in here and you're going to lecture me about weight gain.
Yeah, exactly. And I feel like no one really told me like what I was getting myself into, and it was just kind of like after that, things just kind of spiraled. Like the weight gain continued. The heaviest that I ever got was I think 232 pounds. Mm-hmm. And, the weight gain just kind of continued, and it just seemed like, I got really depressed because of the postpartum, and then, like, I was just starting to, like, eat my feelings. I wasn't caring about what I looked like, and I wasn't exercising. I mean, I barely even had enough energy to take care of my newborn child at that time versus eating healthy and working out and doing all this other stuff.
Absolutely.
And then it was just, like, the body image issues just got so bad to the point that, like, I wouldn't even have... I wasn't having sex necessarily right away because I had a C-section, but my daughter's dad was in the picture for a little bit before he left. And, I couldn't even be intimate because I just, was so fixated on my stomach. I used to stand in the mirror, and I had a C-section scar, so, the muscle it collapsed in my stomach. Mm-hmm. So, it's, caved in, so it would look deformed, and I just like, I never had a stomach before like that, and it was like my stomach drooped because of the C-sections, like the elasticity was like totally like fucked up from being pregnant and stuff like that. And I remember I used to just like sit in the mirror and literally like grab my stomach, and I would just stare at myself for literally so long, and I would cry, and I would say things like, you fat piece of shit, you're so fucking disgusting, like how did you let yourself get like this, like you're fucking gross, no one's gonna love you. And it just kind of like manifested. I got rid of all of my tight clothes. I threw away all jeans, tight shirts. I went and bought myself a bunch of baggy hoodies and sweatpants and tracksuits and stuff like that. And literally I can't even tell you for how long I only wore sweatpants. I did not put on a pair of fucking jeans, because jeans or clingy shirts or anything like that like made me so insecure. So I would hide myself. Like I would sit on the couch, immediately I would grab a pillow, I'd put it in front of me. I would always try to wear a jacket to cover myself. I couldn't walk in front of people because I felt like people were always staring at me or saying like, oh my God, look at her back fat, or her stomach sticking out. I would always try to make sure that my jeans were pulled up before I sat down so my stomach would appear smaller. I would avoid mirrors. For probably the first, I don't know, 4 or 5 years, maybe even more, my daughter, it's just nothing but selfies. There's no full body pictures. If people would take a picture of me without me like preparing for it, basically, I would literally flip the fuck out. Like I would get aggressive with them. I've ripped people's phones out of their hands. I have flipped out, delete that shit, fucking delete that picture right now. I've gotten to countless arguments because people are like, yo, like, what's the big deal? Relax. Like, it's not that serious. Like, we all know what you look like. Like, calm down. Nope, can't. I would freak out. Like,
well, because it's tough when you don't want to see it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, everybody else does have to look at you, but you don't have to look at you if you don't want to. Not that we want to promote that behavior, but that's where that stems from.
even walking past windows, shop windows, won't look at them. Don't like mirrors. Don't like full body pictures.
So this is something you still struggle with,
Oh,
then,
yeah.
is
Yeah,
avoiding
no.
the mirrors and the
Yeah,
pictures?
nothing's really, I can't say nothing's changed. So I have made some progress. Like I'm stepping out of my comfort zone, and I'm wearing things that, but then I also worked really hard, and I lost, 40 pounds.
That's amazing.
So I started, thank you. So I started, obviously I have jeans on right now, but started wearing different things and stuff like that. But that was even a struggle too, because like I would have people so I started trying to push myself out of the comfort zone, letting people take like full body pictures. And then I would have these weird moments where I would be like, I was always the first person like, let me see that picture. And then I would see it and I'd be like, you don't even look that fat.
That's good. That's
yeah,
a good
but
thought
then
to
I'd
have.
be like, is that really me? But then like I would look in the mirror and be like, you're fucking so gross. But then I'd look at the picture and be like, you don't even look that bad. Like you're not even that fat anymore, kid. Like you wear a size 12 jeans. I think you're all right. And then I'd be like, no, can't. So yeah, I still avoid. I try to avoid mirrors. Like some days I have decent days where I'm like, hey, kind of all right. So it's not that every day is terrible, but I still do the. Like if I'm sitting down, if I can have something to cover myself up with, I like higher tables. So if I'm sitting across from one another, that's hiding my midsection. I don't really like sitting in front of people where there's nothing that I can utilize to cover myself. I like to wear crossbody bags because it makes me feel more secure because I can put it in front of my stomach. I like to wear jackets as much as possible. I like to tie sweatshirts around my waist because that makes me feel better. I still don't walk in front of people because that makes me insecure. I don't walk up the stairs in front of people either because I feel like people are fixated on staring at me, and that makes me feel very insecure. Still do my best to avoid pictures.
Well, it sounds like you have a lot of coping skills to deal with the unhealthy thoughts, even if they're not the most healthy coping skills. So you're one step in the right direction. We got to get you in the full right direction. Can I be honest with you about something?
Yeah.
It sounds like you, and I cannot diagnose at this current moment, but it sounds like you might be struggling with a little bit of body dysmorphia, especially because you're saying that what you see in the mirror is different than what you see in pictures. And we often see that with body dysmorphia, that when we look in the mirror, it's different, but when we look in photos, we're like, oh, and you see it both ways. We look in photos and think, oh, I don't look that bad, or we see photos and we're like, oh, I look a lot worse than I thought I would, because what we're seeing in the mirror is not what we see in photos. I don't know why our brains do that, but it sounds like maybe you're struggling with a little bit of that.
Even like now, like I used to be a size 22 in jeans when I was like at my
So
absolute.
you're down 10 pant sizes.
Yeah, so at my absolute heaviest, these are actually a size 12 right now. But even at my absolute heaviest, I would feel like, I still feel that I'm a size 22 now.
Yeah.
Like I still look in the mirror and I see, and then like I'll take pictures of myself. Like yeah, it's just that distortion, and then I'll take pictures and be like, and I measure myself a lot too. And like measure my waist, and I'll keep measuring it because I'll look at the measurements and be like, no, who fucking changed my tape measure? Like that's not real. Like you didn't lose another inch or whatever. Like you're still this. Or I'll go and I'll still buy. You know, I'll shop and I'll buy stuff in a different size, and I'll get home and it's so big on me, and I'm like, it's like I'm still shopping for the size 22 girl because I look at her and I see her in the mirror, and then like I'll buy clothes and I'll look at it and be like, that looks too small, that's not gonna fit you, and then I'll go try it on and it fits. I'll be like, who fucked this fabric up? Someone put extra fabric and just put a smaller size on.
That's a tough mindset to get out of because one, you lived that way for a while and you didn't like it, and now what you're seeing in the mirror is different as well. Yeah. So even looking at the scale, like the scale goes down.
Excuse me, the scale goes down, and I still am like, it's not that big of a difference. Like it's not that different. I will literally take pictures side by side and do a collage, and you can see visually
the difference,
how much of a difference it is, and yet still I'm like, nope, that must be a lie. That is distorted. Like I will go to the greatest length to hide every part of it. Like anything, just so people are not like, I don't like being the center of attention. That's probably why compliments make me really uncomfortable, because I feel like people are staring at me for too long. If they stare at me for too long, then they're gonna start seeing my flaws. And then I just get so fixated on that, like it's very hard to like enjoy. Even when I dress up and in my house, I'll be like, I think you're all right, girl. The moment that I step outside, I'm like.
Now, do you feel this way that other people are looking at you because you often find yourself looking at other people?
No. I'm like the least judgmental person. There could be an 800-pound person. I will look at them, I'll take into account that, yeah, they're a heavy person, but then I'm done. I'm not sitting there like, oh my God, wow, look at how many fat rolls this person has. Like, I don't fixate on anyone's body. Like,
so then why do you
I
think
take
people are fixating on yours? I know, I wish it were an easier question. Like, I wish that question was the one that fixed it, but I like to sometimes remind people of that. Like, if you're not doing it, then what makes you think other people are?
I guess it's such a distorted image that I have of myself, and I've just realized that it's not the number on the scale. Like I keep telling myself like, no, you know what, Ash, 20 more pounds, you won't feel like this anymore. But yet 40 pounds prior to this, I said to myself, when you're down 40 pounds, you're not gonna feel like this anymore. I get to that 40-pound mark and I'm like, you still think you're a fat ass. So you know what, 20 more pounds you go, you're gonna feel great. And then I'm like, I don't think it's not ever going to be the number on the scale. It's my mental. Like,
it is.
The way that I
Have
see
you ever
things.
heard that saying, I wish I was as skinny as I was when I thought I was fat?
Literally.
That's because that's a mentality. We get down to that weight and we still feel like the person we were when we were bigger. Or even if we don't, we still feel like there's more to be done. And that comes from, just basing yourself off the people around you. And even sometimes then that's hard to believe, because sometimes I've had people look at me and say, well, why? Because nobody around me is skinny.
It's true.
It's everything. It's mental.
But that's why I'm like, I really gotta, and you tying that in, our last session and talking about like, how I feel about my relationships and stuff like that. I feel like the core of it all is it really just comes down to my self-esteem.
It does, because I think that you can say that you're a lot of things. I don't think you believe that you're those things.
No, that's definitely.
I think you're saying it because you want other people to believe it, but we need to get you to believe it.
You definitely hit the nail on the head, because I don't believe shit that comes out of my mouth. I could have the greatest day. I could do super productive, kill it, get all these compliments, all that shit, and then literally not believe none of it. And I always say, my new boyfriend used to joke around because he compliments me so much. And he would joke around and be like, I need to stop complimenting you so much because that head's going to get real big. And I would say, you couldn't. this is such a deflated head that you could tell me fucking 20 times every day and I still would not believe you. Like, you can't gas me up. That's non-existent for me. That's not even a thing because I don't believe what you're saying.
And that's tough because, I mean, it sounds like that person is inside of you because you preach to everybody every day about how wonderful you are. Now we need you to preach it to yourself. I feel like, how often do you actually look at yourself in the mirror and tell yourself, like, I'm a fucking rock star?
See, I feel like when people compliment me and I go along with agreeing with them, like, yeah, I guess, yeah, I'm pretty.
But how often do you look at yourself?
But it's like, I don't really think, like, I really feel like I'm just bullshitting. I think that there was a brief point after my breakup with my ex, but then I don't know if I was just in, like, this delusional state, like, because I was off my rocker. Honestly, I was. But I'm like, I don't think I really believe anything that comes out of my own fucking mouth, like, or anyone's mouth, really, for that fact. Like, I literally, like, take a compliment with a grain of salt. Like, I'm just like, I appreciate it. It's so genuine, right? Like, people don't know how much I appreciate compliments and just saying nice things to me because I really need, like, I literally need to hear them. I wish that I just believed them. You know?
Sounds like they go in one ear out the
other. They do. They sit with me for like 0.5 seconds and then I'm like back to feeling like a piece of shit again.
Why do you think that is?
I don't know. I know a lot had to do with my, my ex and stuff like that because like he never let me have like the moment that I was empowered. He was like, no, we're going to take that fucking right back, girl. You better not think you're great because I'm going to remind you that you ain't shit.
Have you ever taken some time when you have these moments of empowerment to kind of sit in them and enjoy them?
Not really, because I feel like I just counter it immediately. Like, you're right.
Like, well, it sounds like you have a lot of negative self-talk.
Wow, I talk to myself the worst. That's why I joke around and say, like, no one could ever say anything to me that I've not already said to myself. Like,
well, and I think on some level we all feel that way. But I think from the sounds of it, you can tell yourself that you're a badass in the sense of like, I'll tell everyone else, but it sounds like when somebody gives it back to you, you're, no, that's not true, or like you said, take it with a grain of salt. And you even said you go shopping and when you put the clothes on, you're like, well, who fucked up this fabric? It's never, wow, this shit actually fits me. That's amazing because it looks small. Not. And I think we have to change that inner dialogue because it's negative.
Yeah, I mean, even on paper, if like one of my friends, she's like, let's write down all the great things that you've done and all your accomplishments and just who you are as a person. And we're like writing it all down and I'm like, okay, that's not that big of a deal. Like, I don't understand.
But those are...
Like, why I just can't...
It's tough. It's tough because they are big deals. I wish I could say, like, just take it that way. And I don't know, maybe you're a more analytical person because you were able to say, like, I'm above average in the sense of being a single mom.
Yeah, it's like acknowledging it on paper and you're like, yeah, I am. But, like, I don't know. It's very weird.
So what areas of your life, if I were to ask you, what areas can you confidently say that you believe something good about yourself? It doesn't have to be physical. It could be just your personality.
I'm good at my job.
Okay, and you're confident in that?
Yeah.
And how do you know that you're good at your job?
I've changed a lot of people. I have been a part of a lot of people being active in recovery and being sober, and my patients write me letters and send me cards and vocalize all the time about how empowering I've been and how much of an inspiration and how I've changed lives. I've been asked to speak at sober houses for women to empower them, and I do that a couple times a month. And so yeah, I've had it acknowledged in the grand scheme of things that that I am an inspiring person. But then it's kind of like, then I have those weird moments where I'm like, but am I really doing anything that's like that fucking big of a deal?
So
it's so weird.
Even as confident as you feel in that area, you still have moments of doubt.
Yeah, because I feel like there's so many great people in the world. So it's like,
absolutely, but who's to say you're not one of them?
No, I know, you're right.
And what makes you so great is that to someone somewhere you were, and that even if you'd only change one person's life, isn't that why you get in this business, right?
For sure, 1 or 100, still change something.
So what's another thing you feel confident about? Because I think some days a little self-doubt is okay. So if you're really confident in your job and just some days you're having self-doubt, that's an A+ for me. What's another thing you're very confident about?
I mean, maybe my mothering.
Okay. I hear maybe. I want to hear the reasons why.
My kid's a complete douchebag, so I mean, I guess in a world full
Did you
of
say
a lot.
your kid's a complete
No,
douchebag?
I said my kid is not a complete douchebag. And in a world full of a bunch of asshole entitled children, I guess that I probably did something right. She's respectful, she's kind, she's compassionate, she's thoughtful, she's non-judgmental, she's accepting, she's caring, she is. Yeah,
Those are all top behaviors.
Yeah, she has a lot of really, really, really amazing characteristics, and I guess, you know, being a single mom, I probably instilled about 95% of those things in her.
Yeah,
so,
you have.
You know, I guess I will take the, you know, I guess there's no one else to take the.
You got to take that trophy. She's all yours.
Yeah, I guess looking at that was an aha moment for me. I guess there's really no one else for me to be able to pass that baton to.
Have you ever heard of nurturing parenting?
Yeah.
Yeah? Do you know what it is?
Like the parent that is super nurturing.
Yes and no. So nurturing parenting is this concept of 0 to 10. And I like to take this concept in the rest of my life. So here's how we're going to look at things moving forward. 0 to 10. 0 is you do nothing. 10 is you're doing the absolute most and you are the best all the time. The idea behind nurturing parenting is that if you're a 10 all the fucking time, you're going to have like the world's next best president. Like your kid's going to grow up to be amazing. But the thing behind nurturing parenting is nobody can be a 10 all the time. So in reality, where can we fall that's going to get you feeling confident enough in your abilities? It sounds like in parenting, where would you put yourself 0 to 10?
Probably like an 8.
Awesome. That's fucking fantastic. Excuse my language.
Okay.
Your job, 0 to 10. Where are you at?
Probably about an 8.
All right. So look at that. 2 things that we're feeling like, because again, you can't be 10 every day. That's impossible. You're asking for a lot here. Your relationship, 0 to 10. Where are you at?
I'd say about an 8-ish too.
Okay, see? So even though you don't feel like you're killing it, looking at it on the scale.
Yeah, looking at it in.
I think that you're doing a better job than you think you are. School, 0 to 10.
Right now, like a 5.
Okay, but you know what? You're not under 5. So that's progress.
No, maybe like more. I feel like right now with school, I'm giving so much effort, but I'm not getting the results.
Okay.
That I should be getting.
So effort-wise, can you give yourself more on the scale to say like I am doing a good enough job?
I guess I believe that I'm doing the best that I can right now.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's all you need to say. There's nothing else that you need to prove. At the end of the day, I mean, it sounds like the only class you're struggling in really is maybe your practicum class. And we're going to get you there. So.
And that class is a lot of work.
It is. If it were easy, more people would stay in the program.
Yeah.
So don't beat yourself up about it. So what are some other areas of our life where maybe we can look at it like this on a scale? That we're feeling, that when people tell you you are, and you're going, yeah, maybe.
I guess. I mean, I'm not a statistic.
Okay, there you go. You're not. If we were to put that on a scale, you're over here in like the 30s. You're in like the hundreds of thousands of women who I would say, you know, I'd say the 30s because there's about 30 out of the hundreds of thousands who are doing it.
Yeah, that may be in the grand scheme of things. Yeah, that is something that I know that I'm definitely above.
I'm going to challenge you. We're going to get to play Uno and like turn the mood around a little bit, but I challenge you moving forward to rewrite that narrative in your head. So when somebody tells you, hey, you know what? You're kicking ass today. What are you going to say?
Thank you.
Yeah, and how does that feel? It's scary, right?
Awkward.
Yeah.
Because then I feel like that person's like, okay, calm the fuck down. Like,
so, okay, let's turn it around. Tell me something good about me.
You're a great therapist, Gabby.
Thank you.
How does that feel?
Feels good.
Oh, good.
How does that feel to you? Do you feel uncomfortable that I said thank you?
No.
All right, then. So why do you feel
uncomfortable?
uncomfortable?
I feel like you're deserving of the compliment.
Okay, and so are you. That's why I role-played it back the other way around.
Irrational.
So now I'm going to tell you, we're practicing because I want you to take this into real life with you. I am going to tell you, you're beautiful.
Thanks.
Can you say it out loud to yourself?
What?
I want you to say, I'm beautiful.
I'm beautiful. I can't. It's so hard.
It is. It's hard. It's hard.
I don't even fucking believe it coming out of my own mouth.
I know, but the more you do it, I don't want to say the more you're going to believe it, but the more real it's going to feel. There's a study out there, for another little analogy, that says if you fake smile, this is a real thing because I used to practice it in middle school because depression. If you fake smile for 5 minutes, at some point in that 5 minutes, if not by the end, you will start actually being happy. So,
oh, sorry.
No, you're fine. So we're basically applying that to this positive self-talk. I'm not going to say if you do it for 5 minutes, you're going to be a whole different person. But I think if for the next 5 months, every time someone compliments you, even if at first you say, no, I'm not, or maybe, or you say thank you and you let it sit there, if you're going back and correcting it, like, oh, no, I'm not, but thank you, we're still kind of slowly changing that narrative. So I'm going to give you a couple more. You ready? You are a great mom.
Thank you.
Can you say that out loud yourself?
You are a great mom.
All right. Can you say I am a great mom?
I mean, I am a great mom.
Awesome. You are an awesome girlfriend.
I am an awesome girlfriend.
It's hard to say, right? I wish it were easy.
It feels weird embracing something. Like, I feel like
it's new.
I don't want people, because if I embrace this, alleged great whatever title that comes after that, and then what happens if people counter that and say you're not? And then I'm like, oh god, shit, you're right. Fuck, what was I doing? I shouldn't have said that.
So in reality, who do you think's gonna counter you? If somebody's giving you this compliment and you're like, yeah, I am, who's really gonna look at you and tell you no?
I guess the way they doesn't like me. You need to get a couch every time. You always make me tired when you.
It's tired
when you
doing
make
a
me
lot
talk
of these
about
stuff.
my shit.
Don't worry, we're gonna upregulate you with some Uno in a little bit because talking about this stuff is tough. I wish it were easy, but it's not.
Every time I talk to you, I'm tired.
But you know what? I like to think that that's a good sign. It means that you're getting
thing.
something done.
When you're pulling out your shit, I always think about it like this: like when you're cleaning out your closet at home and it's a trash hole, you're exhausted by the end because you got to pull out a lot of shit and it's tiring. So.
But you know what? You're gonna get a real good night's sleep tonight.
I really am.
So I'll give you one last one. Let's see. I'm gonna try to make it a little bit. Let me see if I make it difficult. But I'm trying to think of something. I don't know. What's a difficult one for you to hear when you get? Tell me.
Probably the you're beautiful, or like because I'm still losing weight. Like people that haven't seen me in a long time will say
you look so
like
good.
yeah, like I just went to a birthday party, and I haven't seen them. A lot of the people they're like, girl, you're losing it. Like Jesus, like you look really good, and I'm just like, oh yeah, like I always have to say like yeah, but I still got like 30 more pounds to go.
So next time you get that compliment, it's okay if you say, yeah, I have 30 more pounds to go. But next time try saying thank you.
I know.
Because, so what you're doing here now is, one, slightly changing your dialogue, and two, opening it up for more dialogue. When you say, oh, I have 30 more pounds to go, other people go, clearly she's not okay talking about this, so I'm going to move on. Whereas if you say, I have 30 more pounds to go, but thank you, their follow-up question is, what did you do?
Yeah.
And then sometimes it feels good to be selfish and talk about ourselves. Like,
I think that's my problem.
You don't want to talk about yourself?
No, it's not that I don't. It's that I feel like I don't want people to think like I am selfish or I'm bragging, or I guess I wish I could just embrace myself and just be okay with the fact that maybe I am great. But I think that I'm just so worried that like I'm going to embrace that greatness and then someone's just going to pipe me the fuck down.
And you know what? Someday you're going to encounter people who might, and that's their problem.
Mm-hmm.
But the same way that, let's sit back and look at our past. I'm sure there's been a couple times maybe you piped somebody down, right? But did you mean it, or were you just hurt when you said it?
Yeah, I was just hurt when I say it. I really try not to do that, especially because
I'm talking even way back to high school. I'm not saying you did it last week, so don't beat yourself up about that. I've done it myself too. But we've all done it, so that doesn't mean that they mean it. And if they pipe you down, here's how I look at it. There's a fine line between confident, not even a fine line. It's a big, bold motherfucking line between confident and cocky. Mm-hmm. We want you somewhere over here. We want you to be able, when somebody says, you look good as hell, it's okay to be like, thanks, I know.
Yeah, and not be like better than you.
Yeah, exactly.
That would be
Exactly. We're going to do that thing of like the things I should say when people talk to me, things I shouldn't. And better than you and comments like, no, I don't, should be in the things I shouldn't say.
It's true.
You deserve a compliment. The same way when you give a compliment, because it sounds like you do like to give them.
I love giving compliments.
Those people want to hear them. Even if their response is also, no, thank you. Or
Complimenting
no,
people makes me so happy.
See? So let people compliment you and take it. Because, I mean, have you ever given out a compliment that you didn't mean?
No.
All right, so nobody's giving you compliments they don't mean. They're all true in their eyes, and that's what matters, right?
True.
Yeah, don't, not validate their thoughts of you by saying, no, I'm not. Even if that's how we feel, You're think of it in a clinical sense. You're validating them. You want to think I'm great? Better for you to think I'm great.
Just throw cards at me.
Just attacking you at this point.
Very talented. You were like,
thank you. I'm a master with the cards. So let's upregulate you so you don't fall asleep on your drive home because you've got kids and I don't want to be responsible for that.
I know. I'm tired.
I'm not a parent, so I can't take anybody in yet if you get in an accident.
Yo,
how are we
girl.
feeling right
Tired.
now? Other than tired, what's our mood? What's our zone? Calm. In a good way, like a content way?
Yeah, like it's nice to say things and like just get them out, period.
Being
Like I
heard
feel like
a little bit.
Yeah, I feel like there's just like there's healing in just something so simple like that sometimes, just like being able to just even if I just for a moment for our 45-minute session lift some of that weight off my shoulders.
Yeah.
Put it on even if I put that shit right back on when I leave, like even just having that 45 minutes where I can shift and give some of that weight to someone else or just like set that weight aside or have someone help me set that weight aside.
Mm-hmm.
It feels
I tell my clients all the time, we're all walking around with a bag of rocks.
Mm-hmm.
I leave my bag of rocks at home so that way when you come you can drop some of yours in my bag.
Yeah, that's
that
exactly
way you have
how
a
it
little
feels.
bit lighter when you go home. And I also notice sometimes once we release those thoughts in session, it's easier to go home and say them out loud to somebody else.
No,
and that
is.
helps a lot.
Normalizing the conversation.
Yeah, because right now you're holding it in and when you showed up here, you were feeling like those thoughts were bizarre and why would you think that way? And now we've walked through they're not necessarily bizarre. So you know how to play Uno, right?
Barely. Remember, Gabby? At our other sessions, we played similar games. I'm not that
This
good
is
at
our
this.
first card. If this is our first card, what cards can you put down on it?
Oh, I gotcha, gal.
All right. Awesome. And so the rule of this Uno is it's self-esteem Uno. So every time you get a 3 or an 8, I get to ask you a question about you.
Okay.
If I get a 3 or an 8, you can ask me a question about me. The goal is that it's supposed to make you think of something positive about yourself.
All right.
Oh, man. I locked myself right into a trap.
Oh, wait, I get to ask you about something.
Yeah, you get to ask me something about me.
What's your favorite thing about yourself?
Personality or physical?
Personality. Let's be a little less vain.
I like that I am tolerant and understanding.
That's a good one.
Thank you.
Very tolerant. You tolerate my shit.
You get to put one down now.
Oh, yeah.
And tolerate your shit. No, stop. That took a second for me to process. I was looking at your card. Sorry. What color?
Red.
Okay, I'm going to skip you, but then I need to pick up. Now I'm being tolerant of you. You really screwed me here.
Holy moly.
Wow, I shuffled to my advantage. You know what's going to end up happening too? You're going to have to pick up for red. Oh. Let's skip you again. Now it's your turn.
I get to ask you again, right?
Oh, shoot. Yeah.
What's your favorite physical trait?
My hair. I know it's
Nice.
not like my body, but now it's your
okay.
turn.
It's still something that you love about yourself, right, Gabby? That's what you would tell me.
That's right. It's one thing. One thing in the right direction.
Do I have to keep picking up?
Yeah, you have to pick up until you get one you can put down.
God, I
Come on, how do you think I got so... You think I'm going to take this many cards and be like, you can just pick one? Oh, come on. All right, what color?
Yellow.
I'm going to skip you.
Oh, we keep
Reverse you. Reverse you. And a 2. Okay, it's your turn. Haha.
Yeah, coming back.
You can give Nate your 3 any moment now. It's supposed to be about you this game.
Oh, just kidding. It's okay. It's therapeutic for me. I like hearing nice things about other people. It makes me happy.
Sometimes that is therapeutic for other people.
Now you get to ask me.
Okay. What is one thing you think you're really good at? It can be anything, like even a hobby.
Making people feel better about themselves.
Ooh, all right. I like that. Oh, now it's my turn, huh? Oh, dang it.
What? Oh, God. I'll ask you the same thing that you just asked me.
What's one thing I think I'm good at?
Mm-hmm.
Talking. I'm a good talker.
You are a therapist, Gabby. That would make sense.
Thanks.
You're welcome. I guess it's my turn now. Jeez Louise, I'm pulling a Gabby now.
This is
Just
how
kidding.
that's how you get a good game. Okay. What is one thing you did today that made you happy?
I helped a client get into detox.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's
that was
really
good.
awesome.
Yeah, they were happy about that.
It's gotta feel really good when you go home at the end of the day.
Well, it wasn't even just getting them into detox. It was the fact that they were so against entering inpatient treatment, and then I finally was able to get them to a place where they were accountable and acknowledging,
That's
and that
awesome.
they wanted to get in there.
That's a lot of work that you had to do that.
Yes, it was.
That's really fantastic.
So if I have more than one, I can keep going?
No.
Oh, wow. I really
can't
don't know
do
how to
that.
play Uno.
You can only keep going. You can only keep going if like you have like a stop or a reverse. But that doesn't always work if you're with more than one person.
Gotcha. How dare I not know the rules of
Come
Uno?
on, like I used to work with children every day, so
I was not an
I'm
Uno
kind of an
playing kid.
Uno master. Well, I'm an Uno playing adult. Blue. Oh man, so now you get to go again. Uno. Boom. Oh, you get to ask me a question though.
Do you love being a therapist?
I do. Yeah. I was really nervous for a while. What about you?
I mean, when I get there, being a therapist, I think so. I think I'll love it.
I think you will too. I mean, it sounds like you're good at, helping people right now as it is.
And I've been told that therapists need therapists.
Yes. Absolutely. I can speak from a personal sense that I have my own therapist, and sometimes my sessions just are me talking about what I do for work. And sometimes that's what you need. And I wonder all the time if he has somebody that he goes to and he talks about me and it's just a chain reaction.
I'm sure he does. Someone's got to bear the weight.
But yeah, so definitely recommend that once you get through your practicum hours, definitely start talking to somebody.
Did practicum suck for you as bad as it sucked for me that
It
I've shared for you in previous sessions?
It did. Yeah, it did. I wish I could say it was easy. My school did this weird thing where you had to record videos instead of doing in field.
Okay.
And I understand why now that it's over, because these are real people's lives.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make it any easier.
I get to do it in field.
Yeah, that's...
Just kidding, Gabby. I have to do recording sessions as well.
I was going to say that's gotta be tough.
I wish I was telling you the truth. That was a joke. I hate it as well.
Yeah, it's not
It
easy.
is. You do learn a lot.
Absolutely you do.
I'll say that. You definitely do learn a lot, but it's still pretty intimidating.
Yeah, it's not
And
easy.
tedious.
Very tedious.
That's-
You have to pick up too.
Oh, sorry.
Don't play me like that.
That's tedious. Sorry.
Oh, it definitely is, especially the recording aspect of it all. So I can imagine it's taking a toll on you.
It is taking a toll on me.
Um,
It has actually been The one thing in
You
my
still have
life.
to pick up 2 again. The one thing in your life that's really stressing you out.
Yeah.
But you
No,
know
it's
what?
the number one thing in my life right now that is stressing me out, absolutely.
Well, then you're almost done, so don't sweat it because, you know, once it's over, you're probably going to have this breath of fresh air.
For the time being, I have to bulk up really bad in spring, so internship along with
How many classes?
3, 4.
4 classes?
No, 3. I have to look at my spring schedule again.
Well, hopefully they're all online because I feel like the online classes, and the school I went to, my experience was
No, see,
pretty
I feel
easy.
the opposite.
Really?
I feel like on campus is easier. It's less work.
So maybe find it on campus.
Your discussions are like assignments in my school.
Oh, okay, that makes
Which
sense.
is frustrating.
You still get to go because you skipped me.
So what do I do?
So if you don't have a red card, then you pick up
Okay,
until you have one.
look at that.
This fish got your wish if we were playing that way.
Pardon. Oh, I didn't even know that either.
Oh, and it's an 8, so I get to ask something about yourself.
Oh, yeah.
Tell me one thing you like about yourself.
Probably my smile.
All right, that's a good one. See,
Yeah.
you got one thing you like for sure.
Go with that.
I'm the Uno master. I should have warned you first so you didn't, feel bad about yourself.
Oh, thanks. You're here to help me feel good about myself.
I know that was the goal, and then I'm so good at Uno, I just can't help it. What color?
Competitive. Blue.
Blue. And we're gonna skip you. Oh, 3. What is one thing that you love to do?
Read.
Read. Okay. Do you do that often?
Not since practicum.
Do you ever listen to audiobooks?
No, not really. I'm more of a...
Physical
I
reader?
need a book in my hand.
That's understandable.
There's something about... Barnes & Noble's is my favorite store. I can literally... When I'm usually on school vacation, my number one goal is to read as many books as I possibly can within that 3 weeks that I typically have off.
That's awesome.
And I will go at Barnes & Noble's in the time that it opens, and I'll stay there for hours just sitting in a corner reading.
What about reading do you like?
What do I like about reading?
Yeah, what about it makes you love it so much?
I guess like immersing myself into this different world. I feel like I've traveled so many places and lived so many different lives just solely based off of the books that I've read.
Absolutely.
Fall in love with characters.
I'm surprised that
and
you
people I've never met.
don't try audiobooks because it gives you at least somewhat of that, like, you can kind of disengage for a little bit.
I guess maybe I could try it, but yeah.
Have you ever tried
actual
it?
reading, I haven't.
Oh, we'll talk after this session.
Okay.
I'll change your life. I just went. It's your turn.
Well, you can ask me again.
Oh, okay. What's one thing about your personality that makes you different from other people in a good way?
I'm always able to put the shoe on the other foot. I can see things from many different lenses and understand how a person, why that person might have behaved that way, how they got to that place. I can always figure out a way to be very accepting.
That's an incredible trait to
understanding.
have. Not everybody has that, so that's going to do you well in this
Learned that
field.
for sure.
You are going to just excel in this field.
Thank
Red.
you. Don't got it.
I'm really coming for you today.
Yeah. Oh.
I was so close.
Almost doesn't count.
What color?
Green.
Oh my gosh, you get to go again because you skipped me.
I don't have to pick up though?
If you don't have a green card, yeah. You walked yourself right into that trap. Dang it.
Almost there, but not anymore. Just kidding.
Oh man. I have really bad luck today. You know what it is? Yellow. Usually I organize my cards by color and number. And I think that's the good luck charm. That's it. I'm convinced.
Good to know. Oh, 3.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I just skipped right over your question. I'm going to put this one down anyways. What is one thing that somebody else did for you this week that was very kind?
My boyfriend had a hot cup of coffee waiting for me when I woke up in the morning for work.
That is the best.
That
is like the most thoughtful thing somebody can do for another person.
Literally made my entire morning. Set the tone for me. I felt so... And I kept thanking him. He's like, babe, I just made you a cup of coffee. And I'm like, but there's... You could have been thinking about 1,000,001 things, but you were thinking about the fact that you knew that I would love to wake up to that.
You woke up this morning and you said, what can I do to make Ashlee smile? That's awesome.
That was so important.
That's phenomenal.
It was so important to me.
I love hearing stories like that.
Thank you.
You won! Dang it! And you didn't even say Uno and I didn't catch you.
Sorry.
Well, that works out perfect timing because I think our session ends right now. How are we feeling though? Quick check-in.
I definitely don't feel as tired as I was.
It's because I just upregulated you.
I definitely... Wow, that's weird. I definitely feel better.
Good. You feeling like you're in an okay place? You're going to go home and be able to, you know, work some things out and not feel so upset?
Yes, I feel very calm. I think I'm going to go home and I'm going to have a glass of wine and I'm going to...
start your book list.
Yeah. Or I think I'm going to watch an episode of Queen of the South.
Ooh, I've never heard of that. You'll have to tell me about it next time.
It's really good.
I'll see you next week.
Thanks, Gabby.
You're
See
welcome.
you next week.